Wednesday afternoon and the rain has stopped. Blue sky is starting to come through, although it is still a bit overcast and definitely a little bit chilly with the wind. But I want to continue work to try and resolve the leak. And what I have observed while I'm kind of setting things up out here is that the fitting I thought might be the issue. The water level has dropped slightly below that and doesn't appear to be going any farther. So with the opening where it is, obviously the water is not going uphill and into that opening. So I'm guessing and also dreading that the problem might be related to the bottom drain. So as I mentioned in an earlier video, I did get a plug to block that while I test things. So what I am going to do right now, instead of wasting a lot of water, because it's expensive, my water bill just came in the other day, and it was basically double for the period before because of all the water I put in to fill the pond initially. So I'm going to pump as much as I can into my show tank over here. I've had this now for a number of years just as a backup in case I have an emergency or anything like that. And actually I had the koi in here when I first moved from my previous house to this house, so they were set up in this tank until I could get things established indoors for the indoor pond. So I'm going to fill that up. That should save a considerable amount of water, somewhere in the range of 1,000 gallons or so, I believe, and should be the bulk of the water, not all of it for certain, but the bulk of the water that's in the pond now. Once I get that pump down, I'll get my waders on, get in there and see if I can get that bottom drain plug in place, pump the water back in, and see what happens after that. So I'm going to move on with that. Once I get this tank filled, I will get back to you and let you see how things are progressing both in the pond and in the show tank. Well, I've drained the pond down as far as I can at the moment to save the water into the show tank. And as you can see, it is pretty much right now just within a couple of inches or so of the top, so I don't want to take it any farther than that. Definitely has saved a lot of water on the water bill, and that will get pumped back into the pond once I get the plug in the bottom drain. I'm going to come and do that shortly, and we'll cross my fingers that that might resolve the issue that I've been having. At this point I don't know, of course, for sure until I try it. If not, I'm not sure what my next steps are going to be. Definitely going to give it a go. Get the waders on in a few moments, get in there, get that drain in place. I know the water is extremely cold, and I will put the thermometer in just to get a reading in a few moments. And we'll get back to you and let you know. And I will definitely give you an update once the drain plug is in place as well. So stay tuned for more fun. One down, standing in the pond. It's up to water level, just below my knees. I do have my chest waders on. Water temperature at the moment is about 14 Celsius. So it might be good for the koi, but kind of very chilly for me. What I am hoping to do, as I mentioned previously, was install a plug in the bottom drain. And this is what I'm speaking of here. Let's try and move into the shade a little bit. There we go. So this will fit into the drain, hopefully. And once tightened up, we'll seal the bottom drain off, preventing any water from getting into the pipe if the leak is somewhere in the line between the drain and the filters itself. Of course, not sure at this point. I think that's where it might be, seeing as this fitting over here was definitely below water, or sorry, above water when the pond had drained down slightly. So I'm guessing it could be the bottom drain. I don't know why it would be screwing up now, but time will tell. So I'm going to see if I can get the lid off the bottom drain and get this in without filling my waders full of water. And I will do another update once it's in place. The water I pumped out that you saw a few moments ago into my show tank will get pumped back in here, and then I'll see what happens as far as the leak is concerned. I do have an alternative idea, possibly to maintain the bottom drain functionality if the line itself is leaking, but I'm going to wait for a little bit to see how this goes first, so I will bring everybody up to date shortly. Stay tuned for more on my ongoing leak saga. Well, the 4-inch plug that I showed you a few moments ago does not fit in the bottom drain outlet port. I'm not sure, maybe it's because of the sealant and everything I put on when I installed the drain, plus the little bit of the Flex Seal I put on recently, but it definitely will not fit in that opening, so I can't use that as my test for the leak. I did have a 3-inch one. The one I just used was 4-inch. I have a 3-inch one. That one does not fit either, and I'm just not sure what the issue is. I know it's a little bit rough around the edges there, and again I'm thinking that's maybe because I sealed the bejeebers out of it when I first installed it, and some of the sealant has obviously kind of screwed things up a little bit as far as the opening is concerned. So what I'm going to do at this point, I'm not sure if you can see that or not because it is very sunny out here at the moment, which is wonderful, but I'm pumping the water out of the my show tank, the holding tank I have over there. It's now being pumped back into the pond, and I'm going to I think give it a try over the next few days. I will get the filters connected. I'm not going to put any media in there yet, but I'll have everything running, get the pump circulating the water through the fittings, and maybe if it's one of those things where a little bit of sediment might stop the leak. I really don't know at this point. I did tighten the line that feeds to the bottom of the drain for the air. That was a little bit loose. That might have been the reason that the water was leaking out as well. Hopefully what I've done as far as tightening maybe rectified that if that was the case, although I did seal it with the quick seal the other day, so I'm just not sure exactly what's happening at this point. But I'm going to give it another go. I'll fill it back up overnight tonight, or certainly into this evening, and then again tomorrow get the pump and everything running and see if I'm still losing water. And if that's the case, it might just be an ongoing situation of trickle in continually to replace water lost through the leak until I can figure out an alternative situation, other than completely sealing the bottom drain and hoping that does a trick. And I really don't want to do that if it's not necessary, but time will tell. I do apologize for the plane flying overhead. As I had mentioned previously, not too far from a small commercial airport where we get quite a bit of light plane traffic and a few private jets go in and out, the executive type jets. So it can be a little noisy at times. But with that said, I'm starting to refill, and we'll just have to kind of play up a year and see if I can accomplish what I want to accomplish, and if the bit of sediment that will no doubt accumulate in there will seal the leak if that's the case. Unless I can come up with an alternative situation, as I said, I really don't want to completely fill that bottom drain unless I absolutely have to. I will keep you updated how things progress, as I mentioned previously. Take care. It's a lovely sunny Thursday afternoon around 3 p.m. A little bit chilly with the wind, but other than that comfortable and dry for a change here. And I may just be thinking optimistically here, I'm not sure, or wishful thinking, but the water level has not dropped in at least 24 hours now. The fitting that I mentioned a few moments ago in the other part of the video that didn't fit. I decided to just put the water from the show tank over there back into the pond, which I did, and it has stayed constant at the level it was once that pond was emptied out, and there have been no changes for the rest of the day. So what I'm going to do is add a bit more water in a few minutes. I'm going to put it up to the white mark that I'd shown previously, which is approximately 6 inches above that one return eyelet, and we'll see what happens. Because I don't believe any longer that eyelet is a problem. I could be wrong, but I really don't believe so. And the only thing that I really did after putting or prior to putting the water back in, I should say, is the air pipe that runs from the bottom drain up to the aerated component on the dome. It was snug, but I was able to tighten it up a little bit more by hand, and then put the bottom drain cover back on, and it might have just been that a bit of tightening that has resolved the problem. Fingers crossed that was it. I say I'm not really sure at this point. I'm going to give it another shot and see what happens. As I said, I'm going to fill it up just a bit more and then leave it overnight and see if I lose any more water and what the situation is. And if I do, or if it's substantial, then I will have to try and think of something else to get on with the leak correction. In the meantime, what I am doing is, as I'd mentioned there, I had PP'd all of the media that's going into the Easy Pods and into my moving bed filters. Both of the Easy Pods are set with media and ready to go. This will be going into the second moving bed chamber once I have the air component fitted in there. I'm going to hop into the filter pit now and get that done, and then I will show you in a few moments what everything is looking like with the media in place. Be back with you shortly. Welcome back. It's a little bit later on Thursday afternoon, and I am down in the filter pit, as you can see here. Just wanted to give you a quick glimpse of how I've got the Easy Pods set up with the media. As you can see, the media down in there, and on the second one over here, the media is in place. Now there's no water in either of these yet because of the issues I've been having with the pond. They will fill up once I get that sorted. That is the airline connection that will be used to backwash the media in the Easy Pods. I know the line is a little bit long at the moment. It's just kind of a semi-permanent thing. I can trim it back a bit later on. And then on the two moving bed, or what will be the moving bed filters, you can see some media down the bottom there, and some more media over here. I will be adding more media again once I get things ready to go and before moving the fish out. So this is the pump chamber. The pump is down underneath that media, and I'm not overly concerned about its location. And the air line that you see going in there, the fitting that I made to agitate the media, is actually risen above the pump, raised above the pump, and so the bubbles will come up. They won't impact the pump directly, and once the water's in, of course, the media will float, so it's not going to impact the pond or the pump either. And this one, again, that's my kind of DIY air fitting down there. That's the valve that controls that one. The valve that controls this one, it's positioned a little differently because this other pipe, which will be in place up here, is the one that is going to feed the new filtration that I'm going to be adding. And until I have that filtration ready to go, probably just going to be a straight line which will come across and into the pond directly, just to get some more circulation going in there. So things are kind of shaping up here in the filter pit. It's still a bit of a chaotic mess at the moment, but it actually does have a purpose the way it's set up. What I'm going to do now is get out of the pit here and start filling up the pond, as I'd mentioned a few moments ago, to get that up to sort of a test point, if you will, for the leak. Again, fingers crossed, quite literally here, that the leak is resolved, or at the very least is minimal at this point, and hopefully will seal itself with a bit of debris if that happens. So I'm going to get on with that now. I'll do another short little clip to add to the video here once I have it in place. The water, that is, up to my mark that I'm kind of targeting for at the moment. And then, as I said, we will see where it goes from there. Just as an aside, if any of you are kind of wondering what this pipe and the wires are for, that is actually for my electric fence unit, which is this unit right here. It actually hangs on the wall right here like this, and then I'll have to fix that one screw there. I bumped it climbing in and out of the pit, but the unit will hang here. The wires come up to connect to it, and then they run through the conduit underground over to the pond, and that's the wires surrounding the pond to keep things being various critters away from the koi. Since I have had the fence there and operational, the koi have been safe. Knock on wood, I have never lost a koi to a predator of any kind. I live not too far from a creek, and I know that there are mink do frequent that creek. Raccoons are not at all uncommon. I've seen footprints here in the backyard. I have also seen them along the street on garbage day because they rip open some of the bags. And I've also had a couple of heron in the backyard in years past, standing on the wall here looking at the pond, and I believe all of them have been nicely deterred because of the electric fence. Again, I know it looks a little haphazard at the moment. It will be all tidied up in short order to make sure it's ready to go once the pond is ready. It's a little bit chaotic over there at the moment, wire-wise, because I've been climbing in and out of the pond to work on the leak. So that way it looks a little messy, but it will be tidied up and will look much, much better. So again, things are coming along. The UV units here will be reconnected soon, and as I said, the easy pods are in essence easy to go. I did remove my drain connections from both of them just to give me a bit more room to work around in here while I'm trying to sort a few things out. But they just kind of screw back in place and they're ready to go. The new valve is in place, and things are overall looking pretty good. The new filtration that I'm hopefully going to be getting up and running, before too long, ready for the pond, will be going up against the garden shed, and I'll have that in place, and I will bring everybody an update as I'm getting that done and installed as well. So take care, everybody. I will update you with another short addition to the video once I get the water in place, and fingers crossed that the leak is at least under control or to the point where it's no longer going to be an issue. So I'll be back with you again soon. It is Monday, May 9th, about 8:30 in the morning. It's an absolutely gorgeous day here today. Not a cloud in the sky. It's supposed to get up to 18 or 19 degrees, which will be absolutely amazing. I am still trying to resolve my leak issue. You can see this is where the water level has stopped and held steady. So the fitting that I thought may have been the issue initially was the one on that side. You can see the water has clearly dropped below that, so that is definitely not the culprit. The fitting on this side, however, the water is kind of stopped right at that point, so there could be water getting in there and slowly leaking out somewhere. And of course the bottom drain, which is down there, I have a plan in mind to try and plug that up and then see if that's going to cause any issues leak-wise, or resolve the issue, I should say. I'm going to work on that after I try this one first. What I did pick up at a swimming pool supply store is a plug that actually goes into, it's a rubber plug with wing nut on top. When you tighten it, it causes this to expand to block the plumbing. This should be the right size for that opening. So I'm going to take the little cover and the eye off of it, put the plug in, seal it tight with that, and then add a bit of water, just slightly above the eye itself, a couple of 3 inches, and see what happens. If there is no further water loss, I'll know this is the problem. If it drops down to where it is now, then obviously that's not the issue. And like I said, I will sort of move on to trying something different with the bottom drain. So I will keep you all posted. I am thinking if it is the bottom drain, because of the work that would be involved to try and dig up the piping and everything like that to repair it, just not practical. I can't pull the liner back or anything to get into the pond just the way it's secured. It's just not physically not possible. I would end up having to remove the entire liner, and I'm certainly not going to do that. If I have to seal up the bottom drain completely, I will, and turn the pond into a pump-fed system connected to retro bottom drains, and that would mean adjusting all the filtration setup, of course. I'm hoping I don't go that route, but I will certainly let you follow along as I continue to go. I am really hoping that I can get this resolved soon. Again, the water out here is super cold, so it's still a bit too chilly to get the fish out yet, but they should really be ready to come out in the next 2 or 3 weeks based on the warmer temperatures we're due to get. So I am hoping I can get this sorted and get them outside. So I will give you an update on my activities here with the plug a little bit later in the video. And as I said, if it works, fantastic. If it doesn't work, then it's drain the pond partway down and get into that bottom drain to plug the pipe and see what happens. I will be back with you a little bit later in the video. The plug is now in place, and I'll just pop the camera underwater in a moment so you can see it. And as I said, I'm going to raise the water level up to about this point, so 3 or 4 inches above the plug itself there, so it's about there. See if that makes any difference in the water as far as the leakage is concerned. As far as I can tell, that is sealed in there now. And as I said, I'm going to get out of the pond now and raise the water level up just that 3 or 4 inches, and I'll come back out in a few hours and see if there has still been a water loss. I'm hoping to get this resolved in the next couple of days so I can get sorted out what I need to do with respect to sealing anything off and making adjustments and plans to move the filters, plumbing, etc. if necessary. So I will follow up very shortly once again, and thank you for watching and stay